This rebuild almost just went backwards. Not because of the engine, not because of the crash damage everyone already knew about, but because of something almost invisible. A crack. A possible hairline fracture in the Bugatti gearbox. And if that crack is real, everything you have watched up to this point gets undone. The whole car comes apart again. Every bolt, every panel, every connection we have made over the last several weeks, gone. We are talking about one of the most mechanically complex gearboxes ever put into a road car. A 7-speed dual clutch unit that Bugatti engineered specifically for this platform. Not available from any dealer, not available from any third-party supplier. A part so controlled, so exclusive that even asking about a replacement puts you in direct conversation with the factory. And right now, someone is saying it might be cracked. If you are new here and you enjoy watching extreme rebuild investigations on some of the most rare and complicated cars on the planet, subscribe right now, because what happens over the next few minutes might be one of the most stressful moments this entire project has seen. Let's go back to where this started. The footage was out, the rebuild was live. People were watching every frame, pausing on every angle, zooming into corners of the car that most people would never think to look at. And that is when the message came in. Not from an engineer, not from a Bugatti technician. From someone watching at home, a viewer sitting somewhere in the world looking at 4K footage of the underside of this car who noticed something that stopped them cold. A line, a shadow, something that did not look right on the gearbox casing. And just like that, the internet became the inspection team. Think about what that means for a second. We are not talking about a Toyota. We are not talking about a car where you can pull a replacement part off a shelf for $300 and have it delivered tomorrow. We are talking about a Bugatti, a car where a single mechanical component can cost more than most people's houses. A car where the manufacturer controls the part supply so tightly that independent builders have described the experience of trying to source components as trying to buy something that officially does not exist. And now there is a question mark sitting over one of the most critical components in the entire drivetrain. Here is the problem stack, because this is not just one problem. If the crack is real, you have physical damage to a structural housing. That means the casing is compromised. That means the transmission cannot be trusted under load. That is the first problem. The second problem is mechanical risk. A cracked gearbox housing on a car producing over 1,000 horsepower is not something you patch and hope for the best. The forces running through that drivetrain under acceleration are violent. A crack does not stay a crack, it grows. And when it goes, it does not go quietly. Third problem, time. This rebuild is already deep. Weeks of work are sitting in this car. If this forces a full teardown, the clock resets. Fourth problem, money, and not small money. We are not replacing a bumper. We are talking about a component that Bugatti does not simply sell. Getting a replacement unit, if one can even be sourced, could take months and cost a number that would make most people reconsider the entire project. Fifth problem, the manufacturer relationship. Bugatti's position on independent rebuilds has not been subtle. Every time a car like this ends up in the hands of someone outside the official network, the manufacturer controls the leverage, parts access, software, technical documentation. All of it runs through channels that can be closed at any moment. And sixth, reputation. This rebuild has an audience. People are watching. If the car gets torn down again because of a missed crack, that story follows the project forever. So Matt lifted the car. He got it up on the ramp, got eyes directly on the gearbox casing, and that is where things got worse before they got better. Because looking at the area around the gearbox, something else became clear. The damage from the crash had not just affected the body and the front structure. There were signs that the impact forces had moved through the entire drivetrain. And the question that came up immediately was this: how far forward did the engine actually travel during the crash? Because if the engine moved, everything behind it moved with it. The gearbox sits directly mated to the rear of that engine. They are one connected unit. If the engine shifted forward under crash load, the gearbox went with it. And then we found it, the prop shaft. On this car, the prop shaft runs down the center of the vehicle, connecting the drivetrain to the front axle for the all-wheel drive system. And the prop shaft had stopped the engine from moving further forward. It had acted like a physical barrier, absorbing force it was never designed to absorb, catching the drivetrain mid-travel and holding it. Which means the crash forces that hit the front of this car did not just stop at the crumple zone, they traveled backward, through the subframe, through the engine mounts, all the way into the prop shaft before the movement was arrested. That is violent. That is the kind of force that does things to metal that you cannot always see with your eyes. And that is where the rebuild almost collapsed, because now the question was not just about one possible crack in one location. Now the question was about what else those forces had done to components that had not yet been fully inspected. How much of what we thought was undamaged had actually been subjected to loads that were never part of the engineering calculation. But that is where things got worse, because as the gearbox inspection continued, a second concern surfaced. Not just the hairline mark from the viewer footage, but a question about the gearbox housing itself, about whether the casing material had been compromised at a structural level. Here is why that matters. Gearbox casings on cars like this are not all built the same way. Some components in a drivetrain are cast. Cast aluminum is formed by pouring molten metal into a mold and allowing it to set. It is efficient, it is consistent for complex shapes, but under extreme impact loading, it can crack. The material does not deform gracefully, it fractures. Billet aluminum is different. Billet components are machined from a solid block of metal. The grain structure is different. The density is different. Under load, billet tends to deform before it fractures, which gives you warning before catastrophic failure. The question on the table was which category this casing fell into, and whether the visual mark we were looking at was surface contamination or an actual fracture line running through cast material that had absorbed forces it was never meant to absorb. And if it was a fracture, this was no longer a rebuild story. This was an engineering nightmare, because you cannot machine a replacement Bugatti gearbox casing in a workshop. You cannot source one from a parts catalog. You would be starting a conversation with Stuttgart that might not have a good ending. The inspection continued. Every angle, every light source, every tool available to get a clear look at exactly what was sitting on the surface of that casing, and then the result came back. Residue, not a crack, not a fracture, not a structural failure hiding beneath a shadow in a 4K frame. Residue, contamination on the surface of the casing from the crash event. Material that had been deposited on the housing and dried in a way that, under certain lighting and at certain angles, looked exactly like a hairline fracture line. The gearbox was intact, and for a moment, everything that had been building for the last hour just stopped. The car was still in one piece. The rebuild was still on track. The weeks of work sitting in this machine had not just been condemned. But here is the thing, and this matters. You would be starting a conversation with Stuttgart that might not have a good ending. The inspection continued. Every angle, every light source, every tool available to get a clear look at exactly what was sitting on the surface of that casing, and then the result came back. Residue, not a crack, not a fracture, not a structural failure hiding beneath a shadow in a 4K frame. Residue, contamination on the surface of the casing from the crash event. Material that had been deposited on the housing and dried in a way that, under certain lighting and at certain angles, looked exactly like a hairline fracture line. The gearbox was intact, and for a moment, everything that had been building for the last hour just stopped. The car was still in one